So my rear axle seals are leaking again. I replaced them about 3 months ago and I must have done something wrong. Let's retry this. On an older Beetle with the swing axle, you want to jack up the axle here so the oil doesn't drip down while you're working at the back here. Alright, you want to start off by taking off the cotter pin here on the axle nut, and that would be a 36mm. Sometimes the cotter pin's a bit hard. You want to get yourself a punch and a hammer and get that out. You probably want to put your e-brake on for this. Sometimes it could be a pain to get this off. Might take a few minutes, won't take a few seconds. If you don't have disc brakes, yours will look a bit different, but I have disc brakes, so this video will be on ones with disc brakes. So what I'm gonna do is take these two 14mm off. Right on. And of course, look how much oil is on that thing. It's not good. Put that to the side here. And there's two rear bolts here are 17mm. Go ahead and take those off. This bracket should come off. And yeah, it's got a bunch of oil in there. It's not good. Not safe. Gotta clean that up. This is where it gets messy, so get some gloves on. And these are 14mm here. Nothing really obvious, but so it looks like my seal here is a bit pinched. It might be the reason why this thing was leaking so bad. Wow, look at that. It's all chewed up. Huh. Alright, so on your axle hub, you want to clean up this area here. That's a sealing surface, and that's where that bigger O-ring sits. On your spacer, this inside flange, make sure it's not rough, no rough edges. That's a sealing surface for that smaller O-ring. And this surface here is a sealing surface for this seal here. So make sure those are clean. Mine's kind of dirty, so I'm gonna get some Scotch-Brite. Clean that up. Again, I'm not gonna take out my center seal because I've replaced that recently, but you can go ahead and do that. Another thing is make sure this hole is clean. Blow some air in there, get a pick, just make sure that's clean. I'm gonna go around the edges and clean up all this gunk. So this faces where the paper seal goes, so you want to make sure that's clean. If it's real rough, what you can do is get a piece of sandpaper, like 400 grit, 600 grit, and then place it down and grind it down. Make sure you don't have sharp edges. If you have sharp edges around here, you probably want to get a little file and file those down, or some light sandpaper. I'm not going to use brake clean on this because I have the seal in there and I don't want to mess with it. I'm going to use some brake cleaner, parts cleaner on this one then. Whenever you're working with any seals, you want to make sure everything's really clean. Here's your seal kit. It comes with everything you need to replace when you're doing this job. It even comes with a cotter pin here, so for your axle nut. So it's a great kit. The outer O-ring here, it sits up here, like so. Make sure you don't put it on the outside edge here. You want to put it over the bearing. Next, we have the spacer for in here. Should slide right on. Next, we got the O-ring that slides over this. I'm gonna grab some oil here so it slides a little better in there. Again, make sure this is all clean. And just pop that on there. Goes in your spacer. Now you want to put your caliper bracket on here. Now we got to put this on here. Put that on there. Make sure everything's clean while doing this. It's very important. You want to get all your bolts on before you tighten any of them. So get them off and finger tight. Don't over tighten one before you tighten all the other ones. Grab yourself a torque wrench for these. You want to torque them down to 43 foot-pounds. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the brake rotor here. Get on here. Let's compress the caliper here. Again, these are 14 millimeter. So let's temporarily install the axle nut here. Now we want to torque this axle nut to 220 foot-pounds and rotate as needed to align that cotter pin. On your torque wrench, you always want to have the tool 90 degrees. If you have it straight like this, it changes the torque value. So always have it 90 degrees to the tool. Let me check this hole here. So I'm just going to go ahead and tap it in with the hammer. I'm going to bend one downward, one upward. So once you got that on there, we just got to put the wheel back on. And you want to torque your wheel anywhere from 70 to 90 foot-pounds. I'm gonna go ahead and do 80 on mine. All right, and it'll be the same thing on the other side.